Good morning, everybody. If you've watched me more than a minute, then you know that I am the first to admit when something doesn't turn out right. Well, I waited a couple of weeks for my bananas to get really dark and soft and perfect for banana nut bread. Well, I went to make banana nut bread last night, and it turned out like this, which is more like a banana nut brownie because I realized after it had been in the oven for about 35 minutes, I'm like, why isn't it rising? Then I realized I forgot to put baking soda. So I didn't want to throw it away though. So I am going to try to repurpose this and make a banana nut pudding, bread pudding. So I'm going to use this as my bread. I have a feeling it'll turn out good. I mean, I just don't want to waste this. So I did leave this out last night to kind of get, to make it, to get more bready and to dry it some. So I'm going to cut this up. And to do this, I'm still going to use mainly my bread pudding recipe, which is 4 eggs. I'm going to use a third a cup of melted butter. I'm going to use a cup of cream. I'm going to use a cup of sugar. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon or so of vanilla and a little bit of almond. I'm not going to use any cinnamon because I did put cinnamon in my bread. And when it came out of the oven, I tried putting butter on it with some cinnamon sugar to try to like maybe make it taste a little better. And it was okay, but because it didn't rise, it wasn't very sweet. And again, I was like, I don't want to waste this. So you're going to go along with me and see if I can make a good bread pudding with the caramel sauce with banana nut bread that didn't rise. So wish me luck. Okay, so I have all my banana nut bread brownies. As you can see, it is super dense. And maybe you would like it like this. Me, not so much. So I am going to get all my other stuff mixed up. So I've got my third cup of butter in here. I'm going to add my eggs, my sugar, my cup and a half of cream. The whole can of cream is basically what it boils down to. But I'm going to get all this mixed up, and then I will go to the next. Okay, so I mixed up my sugar, my cream, my eggs, my butter. I did 2 capfuls of my vanilla and about a capful of my almond. If you were doing this without the banana nut bread, it's all pretty much the same thing, except I would have put cinnamon, but since I did put cinnamon in my mixture for my banana nut bread, I am not doing that. So I'm going to get all this mixed up, and then I am going to put it in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. I'm going to go and check it. It's too big to fit in my little oven thing here, so I'm going to have to take it next door. But I'm going to get all this mixed up, and I'm going to go put it in the oven next door. Just real quick, this is what it looks like before it's going in the oven. It is a lot juicier than it would be if I was using French bread, but that's fine because again, this is very dense, so I want it to absorb this liquid, so it is going to be more like a bread pudding. So I will go put this in the oven, 350 for about 30 minutes. Okay, so while the bread pudding is finishing over there, I'm going to go ahead and make my caramel sauce. And what you're going to need for that, you're going to need 2 sticks of butter. And this is Cabot Creamery. I usually use the Land O'Lakes, which is lighter. But anyway, it's real butter. It's just a little bit darker. Anyway, 2 sticks, 2 cups of brown sugar, packed brown sugar, and a little over a cup of half and half. And if you don't have half and half, you can use half cream and half milk, or whichever, or just milk. It's just not going to be as thick if you use just straight milk. So I'm going to get this melted. We're going to put our brown sugar, and this is going to make your caramel. And then when you add your milk, that's going to make it more saucy instead of a. Now you're going to need to keep stirring this until you get the butter and the brown sugar to incorporate. Also, you want to make sure you keep it stirred until you don't feel any grit. In other words, the brown sugar has had time to completely melt, and it's not going to be gritty because you don't want it to be gritty. So I've got this on a medium low fire, and again, you just need to keep it stirred until it's all incorporated and it's like a caramel. And then you add your milk to make the sauce, because this is going to be caramel, but you're making caramel sauce. Okay, so once you have it all incorporated and you've got a nice smooth caramel, then you're going to add in your half and half. And this again is going to be a little over a cup. And of course I always spill it. We're going to get this incorporated. It doesn't look like it's going to mix, but I promise you it will. I'm going to get this mixed real well, and then I'm going to turn it to low and just let it kind of simmer a little bit while the bread pudding is finishing. And as soon as the bread pudding is finished, while the bread pudding is hot, we're going to pour the sauce over the top. So let me just finish getting this incorporated and get it to a, again, once it's good and incorporated, you're going to turn this down to low, and you're just going to let it kind of just simmer. You're not going to want to cook it. You're more just going to kind of let it simmer for the rest of the time, probably about 15 minutes. I'm fixing to go check on my bread pudding. Well, my banana pudding, my banana bread pudding. Anyway, I'm going to get this, turn this down to a low and just let it simmer. It's been 30 minutes and I just got it out the oven. I mean, it looks like bread pudding. So I'm going to let it rest for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to pour the caramel sauce and then let that sit for about 5 minutes, and then we will taste it. And fingers crossed, it tastes. All right, it's been 5 minutes. The caramel sauce has done its thing, and it is nice and creamy. So I'm going to pour this over. Now, when I normally make bread pudding, I don't pour the sauce on. I leave it to the side. That way people can put, you know, as much or as little as they like. And plus, I love the caramel sauce. I like to keep some. And just because it you know, you can use it on other stuff. Things like French toast, even pancakes. So I'm going to leave me a little bit of this caramel sauce over to the side. So now I'm going to let this sit for another 5 minutes. Give that time to kind of sink in. And we will give it a taste. All right, y'all. Moment of truth. I scooped me out some. Let's see. Oh, there it is. So let's see. Make sure I get me some caramel sauce on here. Can you see it? Okay. Why am I scared? I promise I'm not faking. I'm kind of scared. I'm kidding. It's actually pretty damn good for a screw up on my banana bread to a new bread pudding. I am absolutely happy with this. I would serve this to anyone. It is good. It does have the texture of bread pudding versus bread, which is perfect, because if you go to a restaurant, you're going to get more of this soggy texture. I've got extra caramel sauce. If anybody wants to just really slather it on. That is really dang good. Oh, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, hey, enjoy, y'all.